Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of SEF Indisc. You're with me, Sarah, and today's podcast will be a little bit different. If you've been keeping up with social media or the news lately, then there's no way you haven't heard of the Black Lives Matter movement. Earlier last week, an innocent African-American man named George Floyd was brutally murdered by police in Minneapolis. And this wasn't the first time something like happened in America. Police brutality towards African Americans has been happening for a long time, but George's murder happened to be the straw that broke the camel's back. The death of George Floyd in the hands of the Minneapolis police sparked massive protests not only in America, but in a lot of countries around the world. You might even say that his murder was a catalyst that opened a lot of people's eyes on the subject of police brutality. Which brings us back to the subject of Black Lives Matter. This is the movement that started in response to the violent and inhumane treatment of African Americans by police in America. Originally, the movement's goal was to end police brutality, but now it has expanded to erase the inequalities that Black people still face in America. Now some of you might think, but why is it called Black Lives Matter? Don't all lives matter? Yes, all lives do matter. But the fact that Black people in America face so much racial violence from white police officers, their lives matter less than those of their white countrymen. So yes, if you still think that the phrase Black Lives Matter is offensive or gives special treatment to Black people, just remember how many African Americans die due to police violence compared to white Americans. As Black Lives Matter become a global movement, its focus has also widened to include the racial prejudice faced by people of color in other countries. If you are active on Twitter, for example, then you may have seen the hashtag Papuan Lives Matter. For context, in 2019, several Papuan college students at the University of Surabaya protested the racial prejudice that they faced there. News about it spread to the provinces of Papua and West Papua, where protests were sparked by the unequal treatment Papuans have faced in Indonesia. The Indonesian government reacted quickly, but perhaps not wisely, by attempting to censor and silence the voices of Papuan Indonesians through tactics such as shutting down the internet in the provinces where the protest happened. As much as our government prioritizes keeping the national peace, the oppressive tactics used in its handling of the protests in Papua is not only inhumane, but legally condemnable. So in summary, should you support Black Lives Matter or Papuan Lives Matter? Well, of course. To do otherwise is to deny the obvious inequality that Black people face and other people of color face, and we should use our privilege to be kind to those less fortunate. It is my hope that this message will not stop with just you, and that you will do your part to spread awareness of this movement and take part in it, sign petitions, donate, and most of all, speak up for those who need it. Thank you for listening to SEF Indisc. We will see you in the next episode, and until then, Black Lives Matter.